So if you aren't capable of being humiliated, then by lack of vulnerability, you do not qualify to be an asset or an example used by the Most High God as an exemplification of power. Okay? Humiliation is a requirement to be made an example of by God, for better or worse, because the root to humiliation is humility. Humility is a token, meaning it has two sides of discipline and patience. Discipline and patience converge to form humility. Discipline is your ability to have self-control. Patience is your ability to release control of everything other than yourself. This is a requirement for you to be made an asset by the power of God, or the power of a higher frequency authority that you reference to God, whatever it may be, whomever it may be, because discipline is how he teaches you to refrain from things that empower you, and patience is how he tells you what you are capable of accessing or what you need to let go other than self, right? In order to be empowered. Okay. So the discipline and the patience is where the discomfort lies. It makes you uncomfortable. But this is where the humility is. The discipline and patience converge together to form humility. When you are in discipline and in patience to the will of God, to the will of the higher power, to the will of the higher frequency, you are then made an asset by your obedience. Okay. But that obedience requires humility, and the degrees of humility are humiliation. When you get down to the essence of humility, you reach humiliation. And by those degrees, right, you acquire more humiliation, and it's uncomfortable. That is why, we have this cringe about humiliation, because it's very uncomfortable to be the essence degree of discipline and patience. You get what I'm saying? But it's the vulnerability of God being able to make you an asset and use you that is the reward. It makes it worth it. You get what I'm saying? It empowers you. But first, you have to be brought down to a low, because in order for him to use you, you have to be purified. You have to be purged. You have to be empty. You're a vessel. You have to be willing. You have to volunteer. You have to, you gotta be assigned. It's no longer your will. It's no longer your perspective, your persona. It's no longer your mindset necessarily. You're being navigated. And this has happened countless amount of times in reference to the Bible with prophets like Moses, Jesus Christ, Daniel, Noah. They were all humiliated. They were embarrassed at some point, because that level of vulnerability is selfless. Okay. But it causes you to be a spectacle to others. But shortly after, you are exalted. That is always the reward. You are exalted by your empowerment, because being applying humiliation rituals isn't just all bad. That's the beginning stage of it, right? But being able to receive the power of God through your vulnerability also exalts you to a superlative authority, to a point where you have an abundance of power.